Thank you for your interest and for attending this session. My name is Karn Johal, and as a member of the Business Intelligence Team Opportun, I'm looking forward to sharing with you a little of our mission and how we leverage Birst to support our success over the years, past, present, and future. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Opportun, know that we are headquartered in Silicon Valley, California. We began business in 2005 and we IPO'd in 2019, less than a year ago. Our mission is to provide financial services that are inclusive, affordable, and empowering. We have found that by lending money to hardworking, low to moderate income individuals, we can actually help them move forward in their lives, demonstrate their credit worthiness, and establish the credit history they need to access new opportunities. At this time, we have an in-person presence at more than 340 retail locations across 9 states. We serve our customers in English and Spanish, and we also operate online and over the phone across 19 states. We have a devoted customer base, and to help you appreciate what that looks like in reality, let's show you this.
Amelita is our current client right now. She has had multiple loans with the company, and this last opportunity I got to meet her when she was coming in to make a payment. So I became really intrigued and asked her, what's going on, and noticed that she was having a really hard time just talking to me about what happened. She shared that she had 3 people in her family die kind of 1 month after the other, and because I can relate to losing someone and that grief, I can understand the hardship that she was going through.
She gave me all the help that I can get to repay all those loans. And right now, even I lost 2 sisters, I gained another one, so Brianna. The help that Opportun had given me will always stay in my heart. They always give me chance. They never failed me.
Of course, people like Amelita aren't isolated cases. You'll find other videos on our website, and you'll also see from our NPS scores that we're up there with the likes of Apple and Amazon in satisfaction ratings. It's the kind of thing that makes me feel proud to be a part of this company. Also on our website are a few investor-related presentations, of which I've pulled some slides here. And you'll see a couple of highlights. In particular, our data-driven culture and our automated decisioning platform. That clearly evidences a technology bias in our organization, and you'll see that shown here. I'm not going to run through all of the stacks, so feel free to pause and review if you want the insights. But I do want to highlight a couple of points. First, you'll see the reason why we are not dependent on the big 3 credit bureaus for scoring our customers is that we have an in-house homegrown risk and fraud engine that uses over 10,000 data signals to help us make those decisions. And the second is that we have a corporate focus on building an in-house team that can nurture and grow that engine. That's actually the team that I'm a part of. And you'll find my role is hidden in this slide. This should give you some more perspective. It's our analytics landscape that goes by the in-house brand name of Minerva. On the left is a loose sample of some of the sources we deal with, while the blue in the middle gives you some sense of the technologies that we have involved in manipulating them into user-ready, analysis-friendly structures that are ingested by the end-state solutions on the right, including Birst. Across this, you're going to see a number of familiar icons and platforms here, predominantly cloud-based. One notable is Redshift. It's our base data warehouse because, frankly, we have yet to see a need for the elasticity of alternatives like Snowflake. But right next to it is Birst. And if you look at that Birst platform, you'll see we pretty much use everything that the Birst stack offers. It comes from being a customer for over 5 years. I've highlighted in green the pieces that are particularly prevalent. Even though we do have Redshift, we still use Birst on Exasol. Yes, we have live access, but that's about 1 in 20 queries at this time, though that's under continual review. The other pieces that are in white are things we are not using yet, but we're slowly growing into a hub and spoke model that I'll talk more about later. Now, even though Birst seemed like a small part of the Minerva environment, it's clearly a high impact area. This visual highlights that. And yep, it's a heavily modified version of the standard Birst usage space. One that helps identify hundreds of users with thousands of views across 279 active dashboards at this time. A couple of interesting pointers. First is that senior execs are among our top users, which cascades down to a wide adoption. 4 out of 5 Birst users have actually logged in and used our environment over the past 12 weeks. Second one is that we don't really have a lot of reporting and scheduled push-based emails going on. Even though it is enabled, most users clearly prefer the expediency of logging in to view daily and weekly performance. And yeah, that is an awful lot of dashboards, but this is the experience that all of these users are seeing on a daily basis. We've enabled single sign-on using Okta, so when a Birst user logs in, this is their default landing page. We do have a lot of collections still, about 28 at the last count, but this top 10 listing allows us to keep that user experience clean and easy. Now, one little tip in this piece, each button is a clickable image, but also overlaid with a text box that allows you to do hover over descriptions. We found that to be very useful to have lots of descriptions in our dashboards. Another notable here is the use of Birst packages. Those collections that are highlighted, they're actually networked into this space. Our team is always expanding, and we've been moving to a more business unit oriented architecture with spaces built and optimized for teams such as our risk group, with standalone ETL and Birst data models, but designed so that the custom subject area is actually available in this main analytic portal space, and blended Birst dashboards can be built right on top. It's an approach that we believe has allowed us to be a lot more fast moving and agile in our dashboard authoring model, since each space serves as a natural ring fence. And it's an approach that has helped us through some pretty rough recent times. And by that, I'm referring to COVID. You see, when COVID hit, financial institutions at Opportun, it was clearly going to impact us. What we did would be among the first to establish a deferral program that allows people in hardship to skip a pay. And as you can see by the yellow bars in this main chart here, it definitely made an impact across our customer base in the first few weeks. To give some context, within a few days of the first deferrals in late March, this dashboard was actually up and running with daily numbers. It allowed us to track the rise in the deferrals and to manage our approval rates and customer-facing operations in such a way that we were able to help create that inflection point you see, which is around mid-April. That's right. Started in March, inflection in mid-April. Why so short? It's because Opportun is the kind of organization that is technology based. So we were well positioned to create a mechanism for easy repeat deferrals as long as the customer stayed connected and in contact. And if you remember the kind of customer we have, like Armelita from the video, that's who we're serving. They're hard working. And as you can see from the Sankey chart on the right, which is actually embedded into Birst using JavaScript, they're the kind of customer with a propensity and willingness to pay. Again, I would recommend you check out our investor relations page for more visuals that may be less glamorous, but still originate from Birst and highlight how effective we at Opportun have been able to rebound and continue to serve our mission. Before we go, I just wanted to share a few general thoughts and lessons learned. The first of these, always be evolving. As you can see, Opportun has achieved many milestones since we started, and it's an actual interesting correlation that our first profitable quarter coincided with our adoption date of Birst and the formalizing of a business intelligence team within the organization. Every bar here also coincides with the release of Birst. We have done a good job keeping current and implementing new features in a controlled and cohesive fashion. That includes, for example, networking and packages, which has allowed us to be agile. We've created a Birst environment that's more distributed than 2014 to fit the fact that we have a team of people who are also more distributed. They're more focused in lines of business and actually working closer with the business. Of course, when you expand, the classic thing to do is to implement processes that force everyone to stay on the same page. But within our organization, we're moving towards an approach of using checklists that allow us to verify that whatever is being pushed out to the business is functional, reliable, performant, efficient. It's just everything you need to ensure consistency in our end product. We're also trying to democratize the information and empower the users. Empowerment is actually one of the core values at Opportun, and we've been applying it within our Birst environment by establishing some training approaches. In particular, very recently we've had a Birst Opportun Author Essentials. It's a self-paced training guide that we built in-house and allows any user who wishes to learn dashboards and visualizer to end up building a dashboard like the one you see here, and then take that information and that knowledge and leverage it for their own business unit. As you can imagine, it increases our pool of Birst knowledge, and it moves the DMBI team into a role of being more mentor and oversight specialists, using the checklist mentioned before. And then the last thought is to be courageous. If you think back to the COVID story, this was a dashboard that was stood up with minimal requirements given in advance. It was more a case of giving data and thinking how we can make it actionable and insightful. We did not have to wait for the user to tell us what they wanted for us to start building it. And it meant it iterated like crazy, going back to agile. But the end result is something that became very popular, very valuable, and has us very well set to have a future that is very bright. And that's it. Thanks again for your time and interest. Hopefully you found this educational and informative. And if you have any questions or are interested in any more insights, feel free to reach out.